All right, viewers at home, welcome to Africa Today. I am hosted, matter of fact, I'm with the one and only Mr. Joseph, a very good friend of mine. We just recently got in touch, and he's yet to tell me a lot about his journey in the political system in Africa. He's from Zambia, and one of the things that really has made me so much interested in him is because he's one of the few youths that I'm having to look at each and every day that are bringing about a change or who are desiring a change in Africa. So, but before I go further, Mr. Joseph, how are you doing? How's everything going?
No, I'm all right. Thank you very much for hosting me. We're hoping to have a good conversation going forward.
Perfect, perfect. Yes, because of time and everything that we were trying to pull up together. There's a main topic that is a lot of branches that I needed to ask you. Matter of fact, maybe if you can introduce yourself to the people and where you're from and what you stand for. Maybe if we start from there.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Joseph Kalimbwe. I'm a youth leader in the United Party for National Development, which is the official opposition political party in Zambia.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Previously, I was union president of my university, which was University of Namibia, rather. And then before that, I also served as president of the African Union Civil Election in 2014. So it is from those experiences and past deeds that have gotten so much interest in involvement of young people, and I'm so much interested in making sure that we get young people represented in the structures that are supposed to be represented. And currently, I'm also a candidate for my political party to contest as a member of parliament in the forthcoming elections. So basically, I've been involved in so many issues that have to do with young people and how we can be able to represent young people on a larger scale, on an African continental stage, and hopefully on a global stage.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. As you have heard, this man carries a serious profile. I mean, for somebody as young as him and a young African, somebody who has achieved a lot. And I believe you have written a few books as well, huh?
Yes, I started writing while I was in my first year at the University of Namibia. I wrote my first book.
How many books have you got?
Writing grew and I wrote my second one, and I wrote my third one that happened after we were removed from the student leadership at the University of Namibia. And then we also got interested in writing op-eds in the newspapers, and that interest came from the individual that was my lecturer then. He's now the mayor of the city of Windhoek, so he's helped me in so many ways to get interested in these issues, and it's something that I'm very passionate about.
Oh, okay. No, Mr. Joseph, that is so wonderful. I mean, look, that is great. There's something. Let me just get into what's really what has been troubling me a lot. You were part of you were part of the UN United Nations Youth League, right? If I'm not mistaken. Am I right?
The African Union.
Yes, the African Union Youth League. With your time in the African Youth League, I mean, coming back to the topic that we want to talk about, Africa today, I mean, what difference have you seen? Remember, when I say Africa today, I'm talking about the current Africa that you and I are living in, and the Africa that was of yesterday. Today we have this different Africa that we're looking at. A lot of chaos is happening in Africa. I'll start from North Africa, Central Africa to South Africa. There's a whole lot of chaotic situations that are taking place. And there's a small place, the Amazonian region in Cameroon, that I wanted to talk about, and because a lot of people really we are yet to have other interviews with another gentleman from Cameroon. He's Amazonian. He's based in the United Kingdom. But then before we conduct an interview with him, I want to talk to you. I mean, you are the closest. I'll be very honest with you. You are the closest person to an international committee that we have come to talk to, and we have begun to talk to. What is the African Union saying? Because I think during this entire period, the civil war has been taking place for quite a long time. But what is the African Union saying? I mean, from your perspective, you are an honorable, you are a youth leader, and you were part of that, and you had a very high position in that institution. What did you people do about Cameroon?
I would love to say over the past few years that we've had been involved in the African Union.
Yes.
And I just want to make a rectification to say it's the African Union Youth Council that we're involved in. And over the past years that we advocated for the fact that we must be able to have Africa represented on a larger scale, particularly in solving the conflicts that are happening in so many corners of the continent. If you look at Cameroon, as you mentioned, there's been conflict in Cameroon over Anglophone speaking people in Cameroon and the Francophone speaking people. And it's like the South and the North in Cameroon. And those issues have not been solved for quite a long period of time. And a lot of people are being killed there. And there's nobody in the globe that talks about those issues. And even on an African perspective, the African Union is not doing enough in making sure that the crisis in Cameroon is solved. In making sure that the English-speaking people in Cameroon also feel protected as much as the French-speaking people are protected. So the minority Anglophone speakers in Cameroon, they have been persecuted for quite a number of years. If you were to look, there's a video that was released, I think, 2 years ago that went viral where there were some soldiers that were shooting people, civilians. And the government of Cameroon came out with a very strong statement to condemn the video, and they said no, it was from Chad and all the things. But then some investigative journalists went and investigated about that thing, and then they realized that it actually took place in Cameroon, in the southern part of Cameroon, where women and young children were being killed by the soldiers. It was like daylight execution, and we had the president.
There's a particular video. Sorry to cut you. There's a particular video that we uploaded on our news channel where we saw a mother and two women, in fact, with their babies behind her when they're carrying their children, and they were shot at point blank, and the people were actually wearing Cameroonian military wear. Are you now telling me that obviously you are saying you approached and you spoke about that, but then nothing was made? Can we safely say that the African institutions have failed?
No, frankly speaking, if you look at the history of Cameroon, it's something that we've extensively read about.
Yes.
It's something that has been happening for so many years that it dates back to decades ago. You see, Cameroon, the only continent in Africa, rather the only country in Africa where in the past 60 years have only had two presidents.
Yes.
The current president, Paul Biya, has been president since for the past 37, 38 years. So it's the conflict that has been existing for quite a long period of time, and the African Union has not been very active in making sure that they pressurize Cameroon, the government of Cameroon, to ease on the conflict that is happening between the English-speaking people in Cameroon and the French-speaking people. And you find that the French speakers in Cameroon are the ones that get most of the resources, the capacity to be able to fight against all that English speakers. So you find that those that speak English in Cameroon, they feel excluded from the resources of the country. And even the army and everyone else that goes to attack the people in the southern part of Cameroon, they are part of the government rebels. And it's something that has been happening for quite a long period of time. And frankly speaking, the African Union has been so toothless in making sure that the crisis in Cameroon is solved. So we're hoping that perhaps as the years go by, what is happening there will get the global attention that it requires, and our people, because I believe everyone that lives on the African continent is part of us. What is happening in Cameroon can happen to any one of us any other day. And my question, you also feel excluded like everyone else.
My question then comes back to saying, why you have been there? You were part of the system in the system of bringing about change. Why is it nothing is being done? What did you people fail? Or can we say there are particular people which you would maybe want to mention by name or not even want to mention by name, that you can pinpoint and say, this one is responsible for not making a move and he said A, B, C, and D? Can we say that?
You know, I'm one person that is always frank and true. I believe in truth. The truth
Yes.
is something that we must be able to speak openly, and we shouldn't hide about that.
Yes.
When we were involved in the African Union, we used to write letters to the Commission to explain to them, to say we're concerned with what is happening in Cameroon. But then those letters were ignored. We don't even know if those letters did receive the attention that they required.
But by that time, you were writing
made efforts to make sure, at least, even if the letters don't get responded to, we let them know to say we are concerned with what is happening in that part of the continent and we want you to pay attention. But the Commission did not do anything. We have the African Union that meets in Addis Ababa on a yearly basis. They sit and sometimes they ignore these issues. They don't even put them on the agenda. So it's a lack of seriousness, really, to see that people don't discuss these things. You cannot go to the African Union Commission meeting on a yearly basis and don't discuss what is happening in places like Cameroon. You don't discuss what is happening in places like Chad, where rebels are killing innocent people. And as a union that is about to represent the interests of the citizens of this continent, we are not coming forth to make sure that you send even troops there to make sure that our people are protected in Cameroon. So it's something that is very unfortunate, and it emanates from the African Union being toothless about the issues that our Africans are going through in the continent.
Okay, Honorable, there's a, I can see this issue can even lead to, a very long discussion. There's a part that you're talking about that you sent documentation to address these issues when the African Union meets. But can we now safely say there's something which our leaders are not telling us? There's a hidden agenda? Because recently we were in Mozambique. Mozambique was having the ISIS were attacking civilians and et cetera, et cetera. How do we deal with that? Because it didn't take a few hours. Already the South Africans were sending military aid. The Americans, they came through, and you understand what I mean? The action was taken very fast. But then in Cameroon, we're having a situation that has been taking place for years and years and years and years, up until today, but nothing is being done. What's your take on that?
Actually, even if you look at what is happening in Mozambique, I wouldn't say the African Union has been active there. It's just there's just been meetings and other things. If you look at it today, there's supposed to be a Troika meeting to discuss what is happening in Mozambique. So that meeting was said to happen in Maputo today, but then it was cancelled. So when we learned of that, we were very concerned, because you cannot say you want to have an urgent meeting to discuss the crisis in Mozambique, and then you cancel it. How do you call an urgent meeting and then you cancel it? What is happening in Cameroon is equally the same. The African Union has not been able to send troops to say, let's protect these people. Let's make sure that this region, the north and the south of Cameroon, they cooperate and make sure that we bring about the peace that is required in the two regions to live in harmony with each other. But then the issues have been ignored over and over again. It's the same with what is happening in Mozambique, and the crisis that has been happening in the province of Cabo Delgado in Mozambique. It didn't start today. It didn't start last week. So it's something that has been happening continuously. It's the same as in Cameroon. So it's been a lack of leadership from both the African Union and SADC. And if you look at it, the African Union has got troops in the Central African Republic. You see, each country said it's only troops to go and fight the crisis that side of the continent. But I've never sent troops in Cameroon to go and resolve the issues of the Anglophone speakers and the Francophone speakers. So it's something that the African Union, I believe, has taken so lightly for quite a number of years, and I'm not so sure of how much the global audience, particularly the United Nations, plans to be able to make sure that the crisis in Cameroon can be resolved. But from my end, I see a very serious lack of interest and leadership from the African Union.
Wow, Okay, Honorable, what you're talking about is really deep. I'm believing that we are yet going to make more time to dwell on the issues pertaining the AU and what's the other conflicts that are taking place. But then because of time, I'm just going to touch this topic and this topic. I then want to go back to we want to come back to close to where we are. You're in I'm in South Africa. I'm based in South Africa. You're in Zambia. You spoke about is it, I'm sorry, it's the UNDP, am I right?
No, it's UPND.
UPND.
So you interchange the N and the D.
Oh, UPND.
Yes.
I want to know what you're believing in. And I also want to twist a few things and go back to Zimbabwe. There's a gentleman called Hopewell Chinono, right? He's a
Yes.
fellow Zimbabwean of mine. He has been through a lot, and a lot of things have been done to him. He's been incarcerated, and recently he's been. I saw a tweet from him. He was saying he wants to sue the government. What's your take on all this? Do you think can we say Hopewell is someone that is seeking attention, and then is he a ZANU-PF project? And because we've seen him living a lavish life, and then I'm just going to leave that question there. I want to come back to you. As somebody campaigning for member of parliament, what is it that you want to see in Zambia? Are you not afraid of going through certain troubles because of speaking about the current government? Are you not afraid of your life? Are you not because look, we've got other politicians like this is Bobby Wine, and he's having a really hard time with Museveni. Well, you're a young guy. Are you really up for this high jump to put yourself in this whole situation, or we're having Zambia is a bit different from other countries?
Well, I've been involved in youth politics and politics for ever since I can remember. And frankly speaking, I've not been afraid of my views and my position in terms of what we want. As a young person, I think we must be open and to fearlessly speak about issues the way they must represent young people, the way they must be represented.
Are you not one of these politicians that come and say, I'm going to do this, and yet you just disappear after that? What makes you different?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're not just seeking to represent young people. It's a representation of everyone else. I've got quite a couple of friends that have been observed into leadership. Some of them have gone on to do great things, but the concept must be that we must not be scared. We must not be afraid to represent what we stand for. You've mentioned issues of Hopewell. Hopewell is somebody that has been so supportive of our struggles in the UPND. And we appreciate what he's doing in Zimbabwe. We don't think he's doing what he's doing because he's seeking favor. He's fighting for the right cause, and we want him to continue, although the persecution is quite large for him that side, because the freedoms that are accorded to people that fight against the ruling party in Zimbabwe are very minimal as compared to, for instance, here in Zambia, or say, for instance, in Namibia or other regions. What we've observed is that there are so many kinds of persecutions that are sometimes unnecessary in Zimbabwe. And we are hoping that those people that are standing up for that, they do not give up. We also saw just the other week the arrest of the young MP from the MDC, and being taken out of hospital bed and other things. It's really unnecessary that the ruling party must be doing those to people that whose only crime has been to represent their people and wanting to seek change. So what we believe is that as the opposition alliance, from within SADC and even the entire African continent, must be able to be united and make sure that we continue these fights. Young people, older people, make sure that we get united and represent what we believe. And even as we get into office, whether you're from the opposition getting into government, you must never forget where we're coming from, because these fights it shouldn't just be about, it must be about the people that we seek to represent.
Listen, no, I truly understand what you're talking about. The thing is, can we say MDC has failed? Because Joanna Mamombe, she's been in this situation for a very long time. First of all, we also were wondering what's her crime now, because at one point she's the one. They're saying she claimed abduction. She's saying I was tortured. I almost got to a point of being raped. There was a gun being inserted in my private parts. What do you think? Do you think she's telling the truth? I mean, from your point of view.
Frankly speaking, I have not exactly been following her story, except from my friends, the spokesperson of the MDC, and of the other individuals that I involved. There's also hope that has been through social media advocating for Joanna to be released. But I don't think somebody would be able to lie about the issues that they go through. I don't think somebody would lie if they're being unjustly arrested. And I don't think in an independent African continent, somebody must be arrested for 54 days for contravening COVID regulations. I don't think it's something that must be done in a democracy. And even you see when you go to Twitter, there are a lot of things that go on that people like us that get attacked by ZANU-PF supporters for tweeting and showing solidarity to people like Hopo Chinono, to people like this young other gentleman, youth leader from the MDC that was recently convicted. I've forgotten his name, is Morombodo or something like that. But it's something that is not right, you see. If young people get arrested for speaking up for what is right, then we must know that there's a crisis, there's a leadership crisis. And I think the MDC, as well as even the UPND here, we must be able to stand up and get united and make sure that we represent each other. Because what is happening in Zimbabwe can happen to any one of us here. Though. We have instances where within the UPND, we also get, our members get arrested for things that they should not be arrested for in the first place. So it's something that we need to fight for as political activists, as people that are involved in politics, and we must be united as opposition. Because if we are not united, then we are not going to succeed. And I strongly believe solidarity is the best message, and it's the only